Hey everyone, it's Leo, founder of Ascend.AI. Before we dive into today's episode, I just want to clear the air on one key note here. You see, I'm telling you this right up front because at this point in time, the line between human and AI content is blurrier than ever. And I refuse to hide that. So, right off the bat, this episode uses AI generated voices. But let me be crystal clear on why we do this. You see, this isn't about cutting corners, it's about cutting waste. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've heard about it. There are many podcasts and founders out there. They spend weeks polishing a single episode, chasing the best vocal takes, the best viral hooks, on and on and on it goes, only to deliver some sort of a fluff wrapped in a shiny package. Meanwhile, their real customers are left out there stuck with broken funnels, revenue leakage, slow sales, manual workflows, and on and on and on. At Ascend AI, I aim to do the difference. I obsess over actionable substance, not just production theatrics. It doesn't really matter to me. So by using AI voices, I reclaim at least 15 to 20 hours per episode. This time, I reinvest into your ROI by testing real frameworks on actual clients and stores that we deal with on a day-to-day basis and distilling what we actually find useful or helpful into these episodes. Now, here's my promise to you. These voices are just the delivery mechanism, the messengers, if you will. However, each insight, each note, each metric, each number, each case study, each failure, success, and challenges, or whatever we throw in this episode, they're all things we adopt and found interesting in our day-to-day operation. And we want to share that with you because they're practical and we've seen their impact in real life. That's it. That's the promise that I have for you. So if you're sick and tired of something generic and you want something that is deep, real, and practical, then you're in the right place. All I ask from you is to simply hit follow, share these episodes with a couple of friends. And with that out of the way, if you have something in mind, if you want to grow your store, if you want us to automate your revenue, if you want us to fix some leaks in your operations, just simply reach out to me on LinkedIn or X. Pretty much all these platforms will be linked in the show notes below. And with that out of the way, I would love to welcome you now to the No Code Founder Podcast.
Okay, let's unpack this. Think about your best customer. They are standing on counter, wallet in hand, and they tell your sales clerk, I need red running shoes, size 10.
Right.
If that clerk either shrugs or somehow hands them a pair of blue sandals, that customer isn't just going to say no thanks. They are leaving and they are never coming back.
That physical store analogy is, it's chillingly accurate for the state of most e-commerce sites right now.
It feels that way.
Because online, that highly motivated shopper is asking your website for exactly what they want. They are literally typing their wallet's contents into the search bar.
And that's the core of the problem we are diving into today. The highest intent visitor is the one using site search. They want to buy right now. Yet the data tells us something pretty frightening.
It really does. We know from groups like the Baymard Institute that nearly 70% of e-commerce sites fail on basic synonym matching.
70%.
Yeah. And we are not talking about complex queries here. We're talking about failing to map couch to sofa or sneaker to kicks. That failure to understand simple language is just lighting money on fire.
So our mission today is fixing that massive search leak. We need to turn that tiny magnifying glass icon from a bottleneck into your #1 sales channel. It has to act like your very best salesperson.
And the consequence of failure is swift. Online, customers don't tolerate mistakes. If you miss their intent, they bounce.
Immediately.
Worse, you immediately train them to believe your site is dumb, ensuring they won't use the search bar the next time they return. You have, milliseconds to get this right.
So to fix the problem, you first have to admit you have one. If I'm a founder or a head of product, looking at my site-wide conversion rate is worthless here, right? It just hides all the sins of a broken search function.
Completely worthless.
So what are the specific critical metrics I must segment and track to understand the damage?
You absolutely must segment your data away from general site performance. We need really 5 specific metrics on your dashboard. Start with the search usage rate.
Okay.
Typically, only about 5 to 10% of total visitors ever use the search function.
10% seems low for such a crucial feature.
It is, but here's the kicker. Those 5 to 10% of users contribute 30 to 40% of your total revenue.
Wow.
So if your usage rate is consistently sitting at the low end, say 3%, the first thing you should do is check your site design. Is the search bar hiding behind a tiny icon? Are you making it difficult for that high-intent buyer?
You've got to put that thing front and center. Okay, so once they are searching, what's the metric that reveals the most, let's say, embarrassing failures?
That would be the zero results rate. This is the faceplant metric. What percentage of searches return absolutely nothing?
Right.
A default setup on platforms like Shopify or Magento often sits around 15%. Your immediate goal has to be to get that number under 5%.
And what happens if I aim for 0? I've heard some vendors promise a 0% zero results rate.
That raises a really important question. Going lower than 3% often means you are just filling the page with irrelevant junk to avoid a blank screen.
Ah, okay.
If I search for size 10 blue running shoes and you show me red hiking socks just because you couldn't find the shoes, that's still a conversion failure. You just turned a zero result error into a relevance error.
That's a great nuance. So we want low, but not dishonestly low.
Exactly.
So if the zero results rate is acceptable, the next thing is the search exit rate. They searched, they got results, but then they immediately bounced back to Google.
That's a pure measure of relevance failure.
Yeah.
But I think the most revealing metric for founders is the fourth one, sessions with search value, or RPS.
Revenue per session.
Revenue per session. You need to compare the RPS of a searcher versus non-searcher.
And how far apart should those two groups be?
A searcher's RPS should be 3 to 5 times higher than a browser. If you look at your data and see that searchers are only performing, say, 1.5 times better, your search engine is a massive friction point.
It's actively hurting you.
It is actively slowing down and confusing your most valuable customers.
And finally, we track efficiency with mean time to click. I think we've all been there. You hit enter and just scroll for 30 seconds, constantly refining filters, wondering if the site even has what you need.
That delay is just pure pain for the customer. If they spend 45 seconds scrolling and refining after the search loads, your ranking logic is fundamentally broken. They are fighting your system instead of buying from it.
So let's assume we've segmented the data. My zero results rate is high, my RPS multiplier is low. Before I throw money at the shiniest AI solution, how do I diagnose the root causes?
Yeah.
Where is the real voice of the customer hiding?
The voice of the customer is in the search logs. You have to get your hands dirty.
Okay.
Export your top 1,000 general queries. And crucially, export your top 500 zero result queries. When you analyze that raw data, you'll see the problems funnel into 3 main buckets of failure.
Walk us through those 3 buckets, starting with the most basic one, language.
Bucket 1. The language gap. This is the synonym and typo issue we mentioned. The customer searches for joggers, but your product is spelled joggers. They search lounge pants, but your title is performance fleece bottoms.
And the engine is too literal.
Way too literal. If you don't manually map the customer's language to your product taxonomy, they get nothing.
That's where the human element is just critical. Okay, what about the second failure point?
Bucket 2. The attribute gap. This happens when users search for filters or attributes, but the engine doesn't understand the structure. For example, a customer searches for cheap black hoodie under $50.
My native platform search would just look for the words cheap, black, and hoodie.
Exactly. The engine is just scanning text. It can't token map under $50 and automatically apply that as a price range filter. It doesn't understand that $50 is a structured attribute. It just sees the number 50 and probably fails.
Got it. And the third bucket often gets overlooked. It's the non-product searches.
Bucket 3. Content versus product. Customers use the search bar for everything. Return policy, shipping, tracking. How do I use this coupon?
Yeah.
If your engine shows them a product named tracking pants instead of the help article they were looking for, you failed them.
That's a huge point of friction. I can see why so many sites fail there.
And the solution is a foundational UX fix called federated search. You just show the results in clearly defined columns, products in one and content or help articles in the other. It immediately validates that the engine is smart.
So we've diagnosed the problem. Now phase 1, the foundational fixes. Before we get to the AI stuff, let's nail down this principle. You can't AI your way out of bad data, right?
That is the essential warning. If your underlying data is messy, no amount of machine learning can save you. The 2 highest leverage manual activities you have to do are cleaning your taxonomy and building your synonym library.
This sounds like boring spreadsheet work, but you're saying it yields the highest return.
It absolutely does. It requires a simple spreadsheet mapping, couch to sofa, sneaker to shoe, kicks, trainers. It sounds manual, but it instantly fixes 30 to 40% of those zero result failures.
If that's the case, how often should teams be reviewing this? Is this a one-and-done project?
Absolutely not. Language evolves. Your product line changes. You need to review that list against your search logs monthly or at least quarterly. You will constantly discover new colloquial terms people are using.
Okay, beyond synonyms, what else is critical on the technical side?
You need rock-solid typo tolerance. Ensure your engine settings allow for 1 or 2 character errors, automatically mapping IPH-owned to IPH-owned. But the most boring yet essential part of phase 1 is data hygiene.
The structured data.
Yes. The search engine is blind if your product details are buried in long description paragraphs. You must have clean, structured data tags or attributes for critical filters like color, material, fit, and size.
Right.
If the customer searches green velvet jacket, and velvet is only mentioned halfway down the description, the engine won't efficiently use it as a filter, and the results will be messy.
Okay, we've cleaned up the data. Now we can move to the front end. Let's talk about type ahead, that drop-down menu that appears while you're typing. Why is this so neglected?
It's prime real estate because it's a massive time saver. The data is clear. 70 to 80% of search interactions end with a click within that drop-down, not on the full search results page.
That's huge.
So if your autocomplete just shows a plain list of text suggestions, you are forcing the user to take an unnecessary longer journey.
So modern type ahead needs to be visual and dynamic. What should be in that immediate response?
When a user types a word like red, you need a multifaceted visual response. First, sure, the text suggestions like red dress. Second, merchandising show a thumbnail image of your best-selling red item. Third, direct links to collections, like view all summer red collection.
So the goal is to guide the user and reduce cognitive load before they even hit enter.
Precisely. You want to offer shortcuts. Get them on the path to a high-converting result immediately.
Now let's talk about the real battleground, the search results page. The customer hits enter, and we have, say, 500 relevant items. Determining the order of those results is, well, it's where the science meets the art of selling. Pure keyword relevance isn't enough, is it?
No, it's just the starting point. Pure text relevance, using the traditional BM25 algorithm, might prioritize an old accessory that just happens to repeat the keyword a few times.
Yeah.
So as you need the ranking cocktail.
The ranking cocktail.
Multiple layers of business logic applied on top of relevance.
So what are the crucial layers in that cocktail that every head of product should implement?
Layer 1 is availability. This sounds obvious, but you would be surprised. Never, under any circumstances, rank an out-of-stock item in the top rows.
That should be non-negotiable.
It should be. Then, layer 2 is velocity. This is real-time customer behavior. Look at the click-through rate and conversion rate of that item over the last 7 days.
So you're using the crowd to rank the best options.
Exactly. If a product just went on flash sale and has high velocity, you push that proven winner up, even if it has slightly less keyword relevance than an older item.
That makes the engine so much smarter than a static catalog. What about personalization?
Layer 3 is personalization. This is session-based. If I just spend 10 minutes looking at men's t-shirts and jeans, and then I search for shoes, the engine should instantly boost the men's shoes in the ranking.
It's tailoring the experience to my current session.
Right. And finally, the layer that requires the most caution. Layer 4, margin. This is the profit nudge.
It sounds powerful, but also dangerous.
It's extremely powerful, and yes, it requires extreme caution. You can gently nudge higher margin items up, but it must only be used as a tiebreaker between two equally relevant products.
Can you give us an example of how that goes wrong?
Of course. If you prioritize profit over relevance, you break customer trust. If I search for running shoes and your margin nudge pushes hiking boots to the top because they have a better margin, I will conclude your search engine is useless and leave.
So it's a scalpel, not a hammer.
It has to be subtle. It's only for when product A and product B have identical relevance and velocity scores.
Let's pivot to the future. We hear the buzzwords constantly. AI, vector search, semantic search. Where's the actual proven ROI here, and where is the hype?
The ROI is becoming clearer, but the trap is switching entirely. Traditional keyword-based search is excellent for precision. If you search for SKU 123, you need a keyword engine.
But what happens when a user types a complex sentence, a descriptive paragraph? That's where AI shines, right?
That's where AI, using vector or semantic search, becomes invaluable. If you type a long tail query, like something comfortable to wear to a summer wedding, keywords fail. Vectors succeed because they understand the concept of the query.
They can relate it to things like floral prints or linen.
Exactly. It matches based on conceptual meaning, not literal word match.
But there's a famous precision problem with vector search, isn't there?
Yes, and this is the trap. Vector search is terrible at 100% precision. If you go all AI and a customer searches iPhone 12 case, the engine might return an iPhone 13 case as the #1 result.
Because semantically, they're almost identical.
They're almost identical. Same brand, both phone cases. But to the user, that result is 100% wrong and infuriating.
So the solution is not to switch, but to blend the two.
Absolutely. You need hybrid search. Use keywords for rock-solid precision on short-terms and SKUs, and use vectors for understanding concepts on those long descriptive queries. Don't switch completely to all AI.
Okay, final practical application, the build versus buy decision. For a growing brand with thousands of SKUs, what's the verdict?
Native search is acceptable only for micro brands with, say, fewer than 50 SKUs. Beyond that, it's generally a barrier to conversion.
And building bespoke.
Building something on open source like Elasticsearch or OpenSearch, I advise strongly against it, unless you have a dedicated engineering team of 3 or more people whose sole job is search maintenance.
3 dedicated people. Why so many?
Because you're not just writing the code. You're responsible for the infrastructure, managing latency, ensuring uptime, manually writing all the relevance rules. You will spend all your time on infrastructure, not on revenue optimization.
So buying a specialized SaaS solution is the true scaling move.
It is. Solutions like Algolia, Constructor.io, or Clevu, they specialize in this. You pay them to optimize revenue, not manage servers. And here's the critical litmus test for any vendor you consider. Ask them if they offer a shadow mode.
Shadow mode, tell us what that is.
Shadow mode lets you run their engine in parallel with your current one. The customer sees your old results, but the new vendor's engine processes the query and tracks the projected performance.
So you can prove the revenue lift before you commit.
You can prove the actual lift, the changing conversion rate and zero result rate before you sign a contract. It takes all the risk out of the migration.
That is fantastic advice. Let's wrap this up with a clear 90-day blueprint for any founder who is listening and wants to implement these changes right now.
Here is the 3-month actionable plan. Month 1, the cleanup. Install your segmented analytics. Fix those painful zero results pages. Don't show a blank screen. Show your best sellers as a fallback.
Get the foundation solid.
Exactly. Manually map those top 50 missing synonyms you found in your logs and clean up your core product attributes: color, size, material.
Month 2 is about the UI and the ranking.
Month 2, the UI and ranking. Implement that visual autocomplete with product images in the dropdown. Then set up your core ranking rules on the results page. In stock beats out of stock, velocity ranks high, and then apply that careful margin nudge.
And finally, month 3, the advanced layering.
Month 3, advanced layering. This is where you implement the hybrid search model blending AI and keywords. And if you have the data volume, start running an A/B test on personalized ranking, tailoring results based on the user's current session.
We started with the clerk handing you blue sandals. Our mission was to turn that clerk into your best salesperson, and now we have the roadmap. Stop treating search as a passive utility and start treating it as the sales channel it was always meant to be. This has been a critical dive.
Happy to help. But I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. The true long-term value of your search logs is not just preventing the immediate failure. It's about collecting those unsuccessful queries, the things people searched for but couldn't find, and using that data to inform your future product development. That is the ultimate unfiltered voice of the customer telling you what you should sell next.